Hello guys and welcome back to the Laird Performance YouTube channel. On the last video, we managed to get our MK4 Focus ST up, running and ready for a track day within 14 days. Now, it may not be the prettiest, but she is ready to go, and packing 376 horsepower. So all that was left to do was get the car down there, get it unloaded, and then scrub the brakes in a little bit, which took a little bit of time, but I wanted to make sure this car was ready, because I was putting this up against my MK8 Fiesta ST track car, which goes round this track as if it's on rails. And let me tell you, this car can pack a punch. It runs 300 horsepower using our hybrid turbo, as well as having a full suspension setup. So we had to get the tyres all ready to go, because I just drove this car from Scotland all the way down to Oulton Park, and then we had to go for some noise testing. The car passed its noise test with flying colours, which was no surprise really. With that done, that meant everything was ready to go. All we had to do now was get out, do the sighting laps, meaning I had a better chance to bed the brakes in, as well as do a quick nut and bolt check afterwards. This was the moment we'd been waiting for. This was my first real drive in this car as it was set up. Now this car still only had the IBAC springs on it, so it was important not to go too crazy to begin with, and during the sighting laps you're not allowed to overtake, you're not really meant to go very hard. This is just so you can see how the track is and try your car if you've never been out there before, and basically show newcomers where the lines are. I thought near the end of the sighting lap that I would give it a little bit more stick to see how the car went, and it was quite impressive. It can pick up speed really fast, but I didn't want to chance it too much being on my semi-slicks with no dry line. So it was time now to come off, do a nut and bolt check before we took the car out for any further testing. And once that was done, I could get the car out and push it that little bit harder. So first impressions of the car is going really well. The brakes still need to bed in a wee bit, it's still a wee bit wet for the tyres. Everything else is going hunky-dory, but we have had our first slight casualty with it. It turns out, where we've put these towing strap things, the exhaust gases are actually melting it all. So I melted one of the TRS straps off it, and also started to melt the plastic. I knew it smelt burning from somewhere, but oh well. So whoever touches that will be getting hot. As far as the overall track performance goes with this car, it was seriously impressive, considering the MK8 Fiesta ST has full suspension upgrades, the works to make it go round as well, and this only has springs. The base car is very good, and just having that little bit extra power made all the difference. But I had a problem. I couldn't quite see over the steering wheel, my seat was far too low, so I decided to give my dad a go and give Ross, one of our customers, a go in my MK8 Fiesta ST. Now, being passenger in your own car being ragged round a track that someone hasn't driven on before is quite the experience, but Ross is a very good driver and he knew how to pedal. Ross owns a 1 litre EcoBoost that we've tuned for him to take out on track to be consistent and powerful, and whenever he's out, people always seem to think that he is in an ST. Unfortunately, he couldn't get his own car booked out for this track day, so it was a good opportunity for me to get some feedback on how the car performed under someone else's driving style. How was it?
Unbelievable. Right. You need to drive that thing to actually experience it. You really do. I mean, you think it's just a Fiesta, and so, even in a passenger seat, it's nothing until you're actually driving it.
Aye.
Once you're actually sitting there driving it and you can control it, it's unbelievable.
Ross wasn't the only one having fun. We also had our customer Kyle out for the first time at Oak Park. Now, he's got a 420 brake horsepower Fiesta ST 180 that's a standard engine, so for him, with it being a bit wet, it was hard to get the power put down, but he still had plenty of fun. Whenever it came to the straights, I could keep up for the first little bit, but as soon as he caught grip, he was off. There was a fair few serious cars at the track day, one of which was this Audi R8, which I thought would be great to see how my car stacked up against it. But as soon as he got round the corner, he was off. So I had a fair bit of time to try and make up to actually catch him. There was a fair bit of traffic on the track, so trying to catch up to him was quite difficult. But it wasn't long until I could see him in the distance and I knew I was catching. Impressive how a car like this could go up against a supercar. For me, the car is amazing on track. The things like auto rev blip, which is factory, as well as the anti-lag strategy, is fantastic for when you're out there wanting to push it that little bit further. So the time came to really put it to the test. I put it up against my dad in the MK8. This time my dad was out himself, and I was a lot more confident in the car. It was quite late on in the day, so this was the last chance that we were really going to see what these cars could do. So it was time to push it to the max that we could possibly push them to. But the cars had been sitting for a little while, so moment to warm up the tyres as well as warm up the cars before we can push any harder. And with this, our track day came to a close. We'd gathered plenty of data on how to further the setup, what we needed to improve on, and also what I needed to be more comfortable and confident in the car. But as it stands, the car was amazing on track. It really blew me away. I didn't expect it to be quite as good as what it was. But that's all for today's video, so make sure that you like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.